true to what you said on paper.
Every time I hear that, I'm like, wow, when is that going to happen, America, being true to what you said on paper, right? You're listening to At the Round Table with MAMLEO. I'm your host, Larry Ellison, in studio with my brothers from mother to my right. The Rhodes Scholar came in late today. I need to see your permission slip.
We're working on it.
We're working on it. All right, okay. Dr. Bradley's over there. The doctor's in the house here giving you a checkup from the neck up.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I appreciate you, big brother.
I appreciate you.
Yeah, how'd the door come last week?
The door?
If you have any carpentry needs now.
The door came up. It came out well, man. It's really nice. It looks like a picture frame.
Okay, well, I'll have to put you on the list. Got a few things around the house, and my wife has a honey-do list going there. Pastor Hobbs, good morning, sir. How are you?
Good morning, I'm well.
Anything over there? I know folks are waking up early this morning and want to talk about this, but like I said, this really isn't a difficult problem to fix. It's just, is there a willingness to even address it? You know, I mean, I've been working with some really good people around the city with the Boston in Common. Mm-hmm. And these folks are from all demographics, and the commonality, bro, is that we're all experiencing the same thing, those who live in the city. And I tell people, full disclosure, I grew up in the city. I have a passion for it. This is home for me. Mm-hmm. And it pains me to see the inactivity of folks on issues that are impacting them. We spend in the Boston public school systems $1.4 billion a year, and it's increasing. We're closing schools. We're not closing the education gap. And yet people are saying we're fine with this, right? You can't afford to live in the city of Boston.
I'm just curious. How much? What is the population of people of color in the city of Boston? What is the percentage? Depending
on who you ask, it's somewhere combined around 50, a little over 50%, somewhere around there.
So the city of Boston is approaching majority.
Well, it is, but now it's reversing because of the cost of housing, mm-hmm. right? That a lot of what we're finding, that study a few years ago, $8 for black families mm-hmm. to $247,000. I think the $8 is probably closer to $5 now, and it's increased on the other side. But because what we're finding, Dr. Bradley, is a lot of the people that were living in homes in Boston were renters and not owners. Mm-hmm. So when the owners decided to sell or turn their 3-family into condominiums,
the renters had to leave.
And there you go. So those numbers that were heavy in some neighborhoods mm-hmm. have now decreased. When you look at, like Jamal said, and it's good to see a mixture of diverse of people running through Franklin Park, but we know that a lot of that comes at a cost, right?
And usually it's a cost that we can't afford, by the way.
Exactly. So, so those numbers, it's just crazy. But people still have the general election, and Josh Kraft still has an opportunity to leave his name on the ballot. People can write in a candidate. If people wrote in, more people, if they got together in Boston and decided on a name, and everyone wrote in that name at these ballots, write-ins are difficult. But if people really wanted to show that they are not happy with what they've been left with to choose, it's not really even a choice, it's a coronation, then they can write in a candidate. You can still write in on the ballot if you don't like any of the candidates. I voted for Mickey Mouse more times than I care to remember because I felt like voting for one of the candidates was the same thing, so why not give his real name out? Good morning, caller. Welcome to the round table.
Yes, good morning. This is T. Michael Thomas from the People's Academy.
Well, every time I hear him said, I feel like the guy is calling from China and the People's Republic. It's like, it's still a communist takeover. Go ahead.
Absolutely.
I like it. Good morning to you. I had to rib you there, brother. Good morning. Thanks for taking some time with me and my friend this week, too. Appreciate that. Well, what's it?
Yeah, so I have to push way back on the previous the first segment of the program.
Okay.
Great show, and I'm always listening. But I have to comment. My personal interaction and experience dealing with the elected officials, I'm going back the last 15 plus years. Mm-hmm. I'm a citizen. I vote. I pay taxes. I live here. And my team, the group and I, that we work together through the People's Academy, we have made a lot of sacrifices and continue to. And when we approach every one of those incumbents, after sitting with parents, with loved ones, to help us to help their loved ones, whether you're in high school, whether they're coming home from the prison system, whether they're at home, to help them with a career, with a job, with an opportunity. And when we approach every one of these incumbents, and they haven't done anything to help us, to help the people that voted them into office, that they're there to represent, I would love for one incumbent to tell me 2 things that they have done to help us, to help their constituents.
Right.
Just 2.
Well, they'd be hard to find one, but this is what I'm saying, T, is that people sometimes, when you challenge incumbents, right, on their record, they automatically, oh, you don't like them, or I don't know these people. They're not involved in my life, but they have a job. It's just like, Dr. Bradley, you and I are in law enforcement. Just imagine, say, you know what? This is the 3rd time this week Mrs. Jones has called, right? I don't care what the problem is. I'm not going. I'm not going. I've had my fill of her and her problems, right? You don't get to choose,
right?
Right?
It doesn't work that way.
Right? I get paid no matter how many times she calls to respond to her home.
Yes.
And when you confront politicians, they're like, why are you bothering me? What do you want me to do about this? Well, you ran as if you had some solutions to these problems, but even if you don't, that is your job to at least hear me.
But if I'm repeatedly put in the office because of my in spite of my ineptitude, why would I even take your question seriously?
There you right. When 19%, right, less than 100, I only need a fraction of the people in the city.
That's right. You're no threat to me as relates to me regaining office. I repeatedly go in, even doing nothing. Right. I'm getting into office.
Well, they'll pay attention to you if you say I'm running against you. That's when they'll pay attention.
Not even then. Let's grab T. Michael. Stand by. Go ahead.
Yep.
No, stand by. I want to grab this other call. Bring him in. Good morning, caller. Welcome to the roundtable.
Well, that's me.
Oh, okay.
Jamal, I'm back.
Yep. Go ahead.
Also, I sent Hobbs the latest thing, because it just came out the other day on actually September 11th. The latest census data from last year.
And what was that?
And right now it says Boston's racial makeup is 46.1% white.
Okay.
Hispanic / Latino with an asterisk, 20.7%. Black, 19.5%. 2 or more races, 16.9%. Asian, 10.8%. And this is why I don't like this type of stuff. First of all, they say Hispanic or values do not add up to 100% because Hispanic Latino is considered an ethnicity, not a race. Native Hawaiian or Pacific Islanders and Native American were excluded due to very small sample sizes. Responded whose answers with race as other were also excluded. So it's just a very weird, and I don't think a very accurate makeup, because, for instance, too, who's black? And as you know, somebody who speaks Spanish but could be as dark as Dr. Bradley, right? And then what is the 2 or more races? Which race does that include? My daughter is black and Filipina, so she considers herself black, but does not shy away from her Asian heritage as well. Right. So, it gets tricky with.
But it's not
what
get tricky, Jamal. It's by design, because then there's the division, right? Because for the longest time, like Brother Rhodes should not be sitting here with us because African Americans and Haitians should be fighting. And look, and we're finding, as like I said, that this Boston in common. What I'm finding is, I'm finding people across the city that I probably would not have had conversations with, not have gone to support, because the assumption was they would not support someone that looked like me, and I think it was vice versa. And part of that was my growing up, going through busing, feeling like there was this disconnect between black and white. So we have to be open-minded to other people.
That's why Hispanic frustrates me, because for instance, what if we referred to all Haitians as francophones, and all the people from the African continent, and divided them amongst the ones who speak French or speak Portuguese or what have you? So it's very it's weird to me how they do these numbers, and I don't think it's accurate.
No, it's not. So, Team Mike, I'll let you finish up your thoughts so we can some other folks trying to get in as well.
Yes. The point I was making is that at the end of the day, I challenge any incumbent to sit and explain to me, as a person who's been paying property taxes since I was like 22 or 23 years old, that I have sacrificed from the Central Artery, the MBTA train station. The most recent thing was the Millennium Tower, that the city still gaining over billions of dollars from my personal sacrifice and things like that. And all I've ever worked towards was building a school so that folks in my community could have an opportunity, not just to survive, but to live. And not one incumbent can sit and tell me just two things that they have done to help me to help those people that live, vote, and pay taxes here.
No, well, they don't have to listen any longer because of the percentage of people. All they need to do is get the same folks that vote for them to come out and vote for them, because a lot of the folks that voted don't have a lot of the issues that affect them that the communities that you're trying to help do. So there's no need for them, and the folks that are impacted that need the assistance, like Rhodes and I were talking about off the air, is that some folks go from cradle to grave on public assistance, and somehow that's not a career, right? So your situation doesn't improve, and then you get to where you're trapped in it. You don't know how to navigate out of it, and so now it's threatened, and you're like, what am I going to do? Well, what are you doing to uplift yourself? Because I never wanted to depend. Like I said, my mom lost her job a long time ago. My dad was not around. I'm not embarrassed about that. And both of us old enough when they had food stamps and they had the books, I would have to go to the store. I would wait till everybody left out of there because I was embarrassed. I didn't want anyone to see me, and I did not want to aspire to that. Now I see people. I'm not saying they whip it out the card, and you can go in the restaurants. You can eat anywhere with them. I'm like, so what's the incentive to get off of that? When
so they allow you to use your EBT card for hot food now?
Yes, you go in a restaurant. Yes, you can buy meals. Yes, I was getting some food the other day. I'm like, wow, you can use. Yeah.
I did not know that.
Yeah.
Wow.
So it's expanded. It makes it easier, and you can have it delivered. So I mean, there's no incentive to move away from it. But T, thank you, sir. Let's stay in touch.
I have a quick question.
Yes, sir.
Just take your
great show, and I will be listening.
All right, thank you.
Just take your example. If I need you, why would I challenge you?
Right.
So
That's a great point.
I mean that when you look at it from that perspective, you understand that you're being bought.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? I don't want you're not going to ask the hard questions because I don't want to jeopardize the fact that my EBT card will be jeopardized because of the fact that I'm challenging the system.
Right. But what they don't realize is that day has already come, right? Because the person they think is going to protect them, with now the changes that was in that big, beautiful bill,
it's coming.
Right? That this person they're going to find out doesn't have the protection that they thought they did for them because you live in what's considered a liberal state, right? That Mayor Wu isn't going to
sanctuary city
isn't going to be able to help you when they've cut off your food stamps, when they've cut your subsidies,
and then I think you might see an increase in the uptake in the voting population.
If sad that it's going to take that, but I just
think for us it's about value. I don't see the value in it, so therefore I'm not going to take the time. And the system's already constructed to keep you away. Because as we were talking off air, you have double voting. You have primary and then the general election, and other system, and that's competing with the requirement to work. Where in other countries, it's a holiday or it's a day you get off.
The day off to go vote.
It's structured that way.
Right. But they have early voting now, so people had time. Like I said, we
mentioned that.
But I want to pivot a little bit. This recent shooting, I didn't even know who this person was.
Neither
Charlie
did I.
Kirk, right?
Yep, never heard of him.
Seemed like he's such a celebrity, right? But I tell you, and I don't know, it's because of the environment that we're in now, Dr. Bradley and Rhodes, that I'm not saying I wish it on him or anything like that. It's hard to explain that I don't have the feelings that I thought I would have. But it reminded that movie that The Hate You Give. you go there and you're challenging people and you're profiting like Trump from this, and then not saying someone should take a shot at you, but there are people out there who disagree with this behavior, and a lot of the people that tried to kill Trump the first time, these were former Trump supporters, and from all indications that this was someone who was as well. That when you cross the line, some of them feel like, with him there was some conversation because first he was for them, forcing them to release the Epstein files, and then when Trump and them got in his ear, then he said, I trust them, I'm gonna let them. So these folks are on the edge, and when not everybody's gonna take your lie and digest it. So I just want to get you guys' take on where we are in this country, because I don't know if I'd want to be a politician today, or someone who's out there in that atmosphere with people wanting to take you out just because you have a difference of opinion.
Well, Rose, you want
all I will say is that America's always been violent. It's always lived by violence. So it's just it is still part of the culture. You know what I mean?
But I got to be honest, I take issue with taxpayers funding to fly him around, to his family around, and to martyr him in a way that they're doing.
Well, that's Trump. That's
no, I get that, but I'm saying is that I
definitely
how many
agree.
people are murdered in the city that don't have funding and would love Air Force 2 to show up and fly them and their family.
Well, I mean, you hit my hit. You just touched on my hit. But I'm first of all, I knew of him. Okay. And I knew of the of the misinformation. Yeah. He was, in my opinion, he was a horrible debater, because he said some things. I'm like, I would eat that up. But that's another hit. But as I'm sitting and I'm reading and I'm watching this fiasco over television, I see Air Force 2 landing in Utah, and I'm saying, whoa, what?
You have the military out there.
Why should I?
He's not even an elected official.
Yeah. Okay. Why should I pay for this guy? Yeah. Because I'm paying for that, unless J.D. Vance is paying for that himself.
No, he's not.
No, of course not.
So that's my first hit. My second hit is, why are we having flags that have staff?
Right. Yes.
We didn't do it for other people who were killed.
But Dr. Bradley, you're a veteran. I saw military people carrying the coffin. I'm like
why?
As if if he was a veteran, I don't know. So if he is, I apologize, but I
don't think so. He was only 31 years.
Yeah.
I don't think so.
I don't think so.
You know what I mean? And I might be wrong on this, but I doubt it. Yeah. All right.
I think you're right.
And I know many people. As they said when I was in the military, all give some, but some give all. And I know many people who have given all, and they were not treated that way.
That's what I'm saying. And he called the ones that gave all suckers and losers.
Yes.
Right.
Yes. So and he was going around the country speaking
profiting
hatred
and profiting
from it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I'm just, but again, this doesn't wake people up. And when it comes down to the voting poll, some of us would be abhorred by what we observed, and say, "Well, I am not voting for anything with an R on it." Like I said, anything with an R on it means reject.
Right.
I am not voting for you because I don't like the fact that you actually capitulated to this man and you're giving him all rights to do whatever he wants to do. So you have failed me as a citizen, But again, as you get back on this individual, Charlie Kirk, this is the man who said that black people were better off when they were slaves.
Yeah, and again, he espoused hate.
Yeah,
and again, he was against DEI.
Right, I'm concerned about this guy.
Well, let's just say he had just got out of his mouth about his dislike for LGBTQ people, and so it's
he's just not a very nice guy, and unfortunately, again, I feel bad for his family, maybe, but I really, I could not, I can't bring myself to have my emotions to get involved. It's hey, this is what happens.
Right, and like I said, I don't think none of us here are advocating violence. I know that's not what's happening.
We're not.
But I think it's really says something where we are in this country, where we're trying to we're having a hard time mustering any empathy, because you can't forget what he was promoting. You can't forget what he's doing.
Do they have empathy for Hitler?
Well, on the other side of it,
they don't.
Guys, on the other side, I have to admit that I was having problems when I heard about it. And my problems were, I had a fight between my the physical me and the spiritual me.
Mm.
You know, as a man of Christ, I can't support what he's talking about, but I can't support the killing of him.
I know.
I think we all agree, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
And then I felt very bad for his family.
Yeah.
Yes.
You know what I mean? So my prayers for his family was really, authentic.
Yeah.
You know, because I felt like, hey, listen, someone don't have a father.
But here's
now,
the
or
thing:
doesn't
is
have a
that,
husband.
and Jamal, I want to get your way in this, and I'm gonna get you, Miss King. I promise. Right, that same day or the day before, there was another mass shooting. Right, and this is what when people are talking about.
Yeah.
That we don't need those type of weapons in this country in the hands of average citizens, and you're talking about that's the right. This is what happened. It's not just going to be school shootings that take place. It's going to be things of this nature because this person was 200 yards away. No one even knew he was there. And he was able to take a clear shot, whoever it is, because we don't even know. Because several times they said they had, and this also showed the dysfunction of the FBI with that guy Patel who looked like a deer in the headlight up there. Didn't know what to do. He just felt like I needed to be there, get my picture. He had said earlier, that they had the person in custody. It wasn't even the right person. 2 people that went through. This is what happens when you have something serious happen. And you don't have
people who are qualified.
Competent.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you. Jamal, what's your take on this shooting? I know you have an opinion about it.
Yeah, I mean, so, on the biblical thing, violence begets violence, and you know what I mean? So, sometimes it doesn't. Obviously, Jesus was met with violence, and he didn't do nothing. Martin Luther King, spoke against violence, and, they got him too. So, I think that America, to Rhodes' point, is just a violent place. Has been, will continue to be, and I think that
you think Trump will send the National Guard into Utah?
No.
Right.
The violence there, all of a sudden, no. The criminal
what I
element.
did find amazing though is, 22-year-old kid able to pull this off, and yeah, once again, I think Helen just put in the
I was looking at these numbers. Yeah,
right. Yeah, she said a bolt action rifle, basic hunting rifle. So he did that like a deer.
Well,
one thing I can say though is that what I was disturbed at a bit was I saw the video and didn't necessarily bother me. I'm kind of desensitized, but I thought about how many kids saw the actual bullet hit and the
seeing that, and
the after effects. I thought that whatever happens, because most of these social media things block that thing, but that went around the world and that was pretty graphic.
But also, and also to that point, right, where you had China and Russia, where now Trump and them were saying they're spreading disinformation, but when they were doing it on his behalf, he had no problem with it. Right now that it is, they're trying to get people all stirred up. But in the same token as well, you're promoting him on campuses as you're now defunding historically black colleges, funding for them to just get an education. But it's okay for him to go on these campuses around because he was planning on going, I think it was like 15 colleges, in starting Utah. So that's what I'm saying. Like I said, it reminded me of that movie, The Hate U Give. And it comes full circle. Pam, want to get your take on this or anything else you said? So I'm just going to give you some numbers that Helen had sent to me as well. It says 93,000 ballots were cast in the election. Registered voters as of February 2025 were nearly 422,000 registered voters in the city. Right, so I'm not even a third. So out of 422,000 registered voters in the city, only 93,000 people voted. I think that says it all right there. That says it all. Just think more people stayed home than voted.
Absolutely.
Miss King, we lose you? Pam? I don't know if we lost her. She took a nap. It's early. She said she fell asleep last week. So, I think the humanity.
I'm sorry, I was on mute.
Okay. I know she said she fell asleep last week. Maybe she took another nap.
Yes.
You want to weigh in on either
I don't
one?
want to interrupt.
No. Go ahead.
Yeah, that we are going to start a social media.
Tell us a little bit about that. Yes, please do.
Pardon me?
Tell us a little bit about that if you don't mind.
Yes. we're basically taking very important issues, as I mentioned, the one in which I think it was Sagan you said was the person who reported that they didn't have an RFP process and they had no community involvement in their decision to give White Stadium to the soccer team. So those are the kinds of things that are blatantly anti-ordinance.
Right, but I think I go back to what their reasoning that they tried the justification was because that this company was the only one that had the infrastructure to do this, right? And from what I've been told, is that, and I could be wrong, is that there's a big hole in the ground up there, and their funding is not there to move forward. So people are going to be looking at this blight for quite some time. But it goes back to what we were saying, just like they try to say that with Ed Davis with the flagman. If you're not allowed the opportunity to build an infrastructure, how is it that anyone other than this person is allowed to get these big contracts? You know, I don't want to just be the person that's selling popcorn when it's over with, right? Because that other person has made their money and they've moved on to bigger and better, right? That's why with Suffolk and all of them, why they can compete not just here but around the country is because they've been able to make their money here, and now they can compete on multiple jobs where
wherever.
How many companies of minority-owned businesses owned by women are able to compete? Damn. So this is all by design, and this is not going to change because they're showing who they say when people show you who they are, believe them.
Well, I think that several people have ideas of taking a business management team into a minority, say plumber or minority electrician, and managing his business for him, that he would grow to the size of say 100 employees, so that he would qualify for city jobs. And this would be done by marketing people, sales and marketing people, accountants, MBAs, communications. That type of business team could go into each of these small black businesses that are to have the and make a plan to make them a larger and competitive. They would the team would study all of the requirements for getting city contracts and have a marketing plan of how they're going to grow this company to be able to qualify. We are really looking towards trying to do something like that. And on the other side, in terms of the community and the civic engagement, we are basically getting ready to send out weekly, I guess it would be press releases, but we want to get them on social media where we can really point out what the government is all about and what things they are not doing, and teaching and showing the public what they can do about it. I think what happens is to say, well, you know, they didn't get a bid process. They didn't have people involved in the bid process. Well, that's a very flimsy answer in terms of White Stadium. Because basically if you had a bid process and you had involvement, then you would have heard more about stadium prior to them making these commitments. Right. And so do you feel that was a legitimate response to say that they didn't have anybody else that could do a soccer team? Is that what you're trying to say?
No. I mean, it's designed so that no one else is ever even in contention to bid in that. But also, you know, what I found out that's troubling this week, and Jamal, I want to get your take as well as Rhodes and Dr. Bradley, is that the Democratic committee here in Massachusetts is now scrubbing pretty much anything that relates to DEI in their upcoming convention to please the emperor, the Orange Man, and that they're moving away from issues that impact us, but they claim they still are going to be representing the communities of color. I think it's very troubling that folks are looking out for their own interests and not the people that they're supposed to represent. They're fleeing like cockroaches when you turn the lights on. They don't have anything to fear, right?
We don't have anything to fear. We are not
Well,
voting. This is the manifestation. That behavior is the manifestation of the people that should be voting, not voting. So we can't complain that they're shifting to the right, or coming to the middle and not addressing our issues because we are not supporting them.
And then they, I think, voting. But also they moved it all the way to Springfield, so that way it's like the people that need to actually be able to get there to voice their complaints.
Listen, if they won't walk around the corner to vote, they're not driving to Springfield. Right?
Listen, we have a couple of ordinances in Boston that are not being followed, and it's a big, and that is the Boston resident job policy. And so DEI can't touch that. That is has been codified as a law.
Right, but you can have all the laws you want, Ms. King, if there's no enforcement. It's just like people will comply. Like Dr. Bradley has said many times on this broadcast, the Supreme Court makes a ruling and people, law-abiding citizens, abide by it. But the Supreme Court has no enforcement. Judges make decisions all the time, right? But it's incumbent upon them to now, if law enforcement decides they're not going to work with them, then there is no enforcement. That's what Trump is trying to do with the military, is set it up to where they only listen to him. So even if courts decide against him, he controls the military. So again, we've had that policy that you just mentioned, the jobs resident in Boston. Who enforces that?
Well, they in the ordinance.
No, ma'am. All due respect, I'm not talking about what's in it. Who enforces it? That's because we have a lot of laws and a lot of policies, but we have no teeth, right? So do you know who's in charge of going out to these sites to make sure they're in compliance? Or is there anyone?
The workforce and
who?
I think she cut off.
Oh, I think we lost her. Jamal.
Well, she was about to say the Office of Workforce Development. Yeah, and I could tell you there are Boston resident jobs policy enforcers. Priscilla could speak to this as well.
Yes.
But the problem is, and the age-old excuse is, but we can't find anybody qualified. You see what I'm saying? So what they end up doing is that we excel.
Yes.
Okay, go ahead.
Go ahead, finish your thoughts, Jamal, and then Ms. King, I'll let you come back in.
I was just going to say.
Go ahead, Jamal, and I'll let you finish, Ms. King.
I was just going to say, so we excel at the lower level jobs. There is no problem finding Black and Latino folks who are working, or on cleanup,
pushing the broom.
Right, any of the lower level stuff. Right. But when it gets to the higher level, higher skilled paying jobs, the heavy machinery, crane operators, and all this type of stuff.
Ownership,
right? Ownership and all this type of stuff, or even some of the skilled labor jobs, plumbers and carpenters generally. They do okay on, but you could see more of that. I'm sorry, Ms. King. Please.
But no, let me just say this before you jump in. But even on that, right, we're seeing like on something like these entry level jobs for kids, like we're seeing a lot of these businesses, like Walgreens is pretty much closing shop in communities of color. They just closed the one on American Legion Highway. The one in Common Square around the corner is either closing or closed. The one down Nubian Square is shut down. Geneva Ave, the list is long, and CVS is going to be following suit. So we're starting to see businesses. One is because of, as you alluded to earlier, Dr. Bradley, the way people do business now, they get everything delivered, right? That's why you see all these little scooters in the city delivering McDonald's. I'm like, if you need McDonald's delivered to your house, you got a problem. That said,
different mindset, brother.
I don't get it because I like my fries hot when I get them, and they're not gonna be hot in that.
I don't eat them at all. Either.
No, so Ms. King, go ahead. I'm sorry, just let you finish your thought.
I was going to say the answer to the statement that we don't have enough.
Her phone is in and out. So to Jamal's point, right, the last person that I saw really enforcing it, that job work, was, I remember Priscilla and her crew out there protesting at these job sites. I don't know of anyone that has taken up the mantle, right? And even like when the unsolved murders, right? People say they want, and God rest her soul, Mary Franklin, say what you want, she was a stone advocate, like T. Michael is for the People's Academy, and there's always pushback, but what we're seeing is that there's no one picking up the mantle on the cause. Whether you agree or like the person, there's no one moving that up. 617-282-0685, 617-282-0685. You're listening to At the Round Table with MAMLEO. Jamal, I guess I keep asking you this question. I ask of myself because I was talking to my wife the other day. I said, I don't really have much reason other than visiting family. What is the real motivation for me to continue to fight a fight for folks who won't even get in the fight with you? Dr. Bradley, help me out, brother. Because I'm trying not to be that guy. And it's not because I'm a sore loser, but it's like I have to have a reason to do this. I
love your face.
I know, that's what I'm saying. That's why I said you got the Facebook going, because that says it all.
The face definitely
because we have to stop this, Larry. I mean, we have to stop. I mean, because all throughout our history, we have been waiting for someone else to fight our fight. And that goes back to slavery, by the way. If you mess with me, the master will get you.
Right.
I don't have to. There's no skin off my nose. Even in policing, someone else fight the fight, and I benefit from it. Yeah. We are best when we all come together to fight together, and we have to. So I would say, and I know Mo is very sharp. You need to stop.
Yeah,
you need to stop. You know what I mean? Because the issue here is that you're sacrificing time.
Yeah, and there's no effort. And there's no payoff for it.
No payoff for it.
Not moving the needle at all. No, you're right. We'll continue to do this, but a lot of the other stuff, like I just gonna have to pull back because I don't see any value, and not the value of working with these people. I love that, I enjoy that, but I don't see the people who are impacted by the work of trying to get done investing in it. Yeah. They're not investing; they're waiting for you to fix the problem. Jamal, go ahead, brother.
So here's the thing that I do say, because normally I'm doom and gloom, right? But here's the thing I do say. A lot of times I think we just our focus is wrong. So a lot of times over the years, people do the voter registration or the get out the vote drives and all that. And I've always said that all that is well and good, but we need to do that with political education. And that's the one thing that I liked about the Black Panthers of old and the new Black Panther Party was that they were doing actual political education classes, in various communities across the country. Yeah. And as we've noted that, civics is, a thing of the past, just like, home ec. Right. These kids don't know how to iron or fry an egg or nothing.
But also, Jamal, I think we treat a full-time problem with a part-time solution, right? Is that we need to set up an office and real people, and it has to be fully funded. I tell people we got to invest in having people working on this solution year-round, not just election time, because we have an election every year. Good, Rose.
I just want to say that you bring out a very interesting point in the fact that the Black Panthers were educating people, and what they were doing in the community was actually educating, helping out the community, but yet they were labeled a terrorist organization. Yeah, the KKK have lynched and killed people, have yet to be listed as a terrorist organization in this country. Okay, so it's like people are trying to help. Like I don't know if you look at history, you connect the dots, but it seems like anyone that tries to help out the poor people, from Jesus to Lincoln to RFK, MLK, they end up getting the bullet. And others that aren't trying to help us, get the fake bullet.
Can I just say, and that's nothing new, right? That is the way that it is. Quite candidly, all of the apostles, right, that were with the followers of Jesus were martyrs, with the exception of John the Baptist, who was banished to the island Patmos. Right, like that's we who understand like our reward is eternal. We're not trying to get it here. That's right. Right. So we understand to live is Christ and to die is gain. Right, but that's not the mindset of the majority. Right, and so there's a remnant. And Bible prophecy is coming to fulfillment, right? So the federal, the wars and rumors of wars in a one world banking system. So it's nothing new, right? We can banter over politics and so forth, but it's about God's kingdom, right? And that's the truth of the matter, right? So we could do it in our self-effort, and we'll be futile because. Let me get these calls.
Amen.
Please, keep talking, brother. Keep talking. I want to hear this.
Well, that's to the point, Larry. Like, look, we go out and feed people. Do we think we're stopping hunger?
No.
You know what I mean? Right. We're putting a raindrop in the ocean of what's happening out there. Yeah. And imagine if we had a magic carpet or something where we could magically bundle all this food up that we get, and send it overseas with refrigeration and all that, and send it to wherever, Africa, Haiti, Gaza. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So we are just doing a very, 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 very small portion
but it's
of something,
right.
And not for nothing. Oftentimes, because as you know, I don't know how your experiences be. But sometimes I be getting cussed out. People be fighting for the food and everything like that.
No, listen, or acting like somehow they put an order in that Peapod and they didn't get what they ordered. Like you get. I said to him a while ago when I was doing, I said to one, I said, "Man, just keep your receipt." What receipt? Exactly.
Should have said the humor. Huh?
No, keep your receipt and return it, right? Because you paid for it, right? You're getting something for free, but that's not good enough.
But I'm afraid with the new, the big beautiful bill, your experience is going to get worse.
Even more.
Yeah. It's going to get worse.
So listen, just because before we grab these other calls, or the phones are loaded this month, it's that one of the texts I received says, "Justice is the work of the Spirit. There is value to the work for the greater good. Even if there is no crowd yet, MLK, Gandhi, Mandela were not supported for most of their lives. Work for good or you get what you get," right? And that's true. And but I'm saying, I guess it's just human nature.
Yeah.
Cause we have these moments, right, where we're just like, what am I? Because Dr. Brown, you know me long enough than anybody. I've had these moments where I'm like, why am I doing this? But then when I see the injustices, you can't help but to get involved. That's why I love my brother Jamal.
And you will. If you say today, I stop. Yeah. And then tomorrow someone something happened, you see the injustice, you're going to be right back at it again.
No question.
Because of the good in you.
Right.
And I hear that person, but sometimes just working for the good could be extremely frustrating.
Oh my God.
Because the good doesn't show you immediately the ramifications.
See, why because we all bald because we're good and we lose the hair.
Exactly.
Pastor Hobbs, before we grab these calls, I think you have some comments there you want to.
Sure. So on the main webpage of BostonRaceRadio.tv, Michelle says, "We continue to fight because we have children coming up behind us." She said, "There we go, Pastor Hobbs." I'm sorry. So she was, I guess, speaking about ultimately about really this is a spiritual thing, right? So,
it is.
I mean,
Jamal, stand by. Good morning, caller. Welcome to the round table.
Hey, good morning.
Good morning. Ellen, you wanted to weigh in? Go ahead.
Yeah, no, I was going to weigh in and say when I'm hearing about, Larry, people like you and others that do as much as they can for the community, I think the big thing is, keeping in mind that there are probably countless number of people out there that you could be, inspiring or maybe getting them to move up off their butts to actually do something. Like even if it's one person affecting one person.
Well, I guess
it's a slow change, but
I guess
sometimes that's what we need.
I guess for people, like I look at the three of us at the table. Pastor Hobbs is probably the only one in the room that lives in the city, right? Dr. Bradley, Rhodes, and myself, we all come from pretty much the same. We grew up in the city, but we come into the city every week, and not just on Saturdays, but to try to help out in the communities that we grew up, we have a connection to. And most people, when they make it out of that environment, they don't look back. They hey, I made it out, and good luck to you and yours. And so when people, you think they would be more, not saying kissing your behind, but a little bit more. Say, hey, these folks don't really have any real skin in this game. Yeah, they have family, but they're not benefiting from the work they're doing. They're trying to help. But I think sometimes the more you help folks, the less they help themselves. Like I said, if we announce right now that we had a load of food or whatever, right? Like Jamal said, people are fighting with him because they feel like they're not getting what they want. Like they pay for it. It's like we can't even be grateful or gracious enough to say thank you, right?
Well, it's the Benjamin Franklin analogy of stray cats. They'll just keep coming back. You keep feeding them, they keep coming back, and expect more and more.
So that's what. Yeah, look back to the whole way: teach a man to fish versus giving him a fish.
Yes.
Feed him for life versus feeding him for a day.
Yes.
And that's a big part of it. It goes back to education. It goes back to go to education, empowering people to make decisions on their own and actually have the facts. The sad part is that studies have shown that for every minute of misinformation that's out there, it takes 10 minutes to debunk it.
No, but
at the same time, just because it's that still possible to correct, put actual facts
No,
up.
but you do understand that you say give a man a fish or teach him, but the nuances they must be willing to learn.
Right. To that point, I told you guys a story before. When I was a young man, my cousin and I, every summer we would go down and work on my grandfather's farm. Right. He had that's what really got me involved in real estate. And I tell you the time where I thought I was going to be slick, and I went out in the field there, and I took me a nap, right? And I didn't even know he had come, and he had pinned a little note on my shirt, and it says, "As long as you're sleeping, you have a job. When you wake up, you're fired." Right? And that was life altering for me. I'm like, wow. He didn't have to say one word. You think someone's not paying attention? He was like, "No, I'm paying you, and maybe not funny, but you're getting a meal. You have some roof over your head." But I think somewhere in the back, but that's for me. But again, if you teach someone to fish, they want you to fish. They want you to bring the bait, the rod, and everything else. So
they want you to skin it, fillet
I'm not
it.
sure what the answer is. I'm willing, like I said, I'm going to continue to work with this group, Boston in Common. I think they're on the right track because it's collectively people across the city who are trying to come together, and it's not going to happen overnight. I think that's what I realize. We've tried some things, and it just kind of fades out. People have busy lives and whatnot, but the needle hasn't moved in this situation.
Well, speaking of which, I don't want to drop this bomb at the end of this hour, but remember too, if anyone saw from yesterday, Miss Monica Cannon Grant has now
pleaded guilty, right? Yeah,
is going to plead guilty.
Okay, and so good.
No, I was just speaking in terms of someone who a lot of things were given to. This person was lauded. I knew it was not legit, but this person was lauded. This person was given a space. This person was given donations
taxpayer money. Taxpayer money.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And literally squandered it all while giving people the one finger salute. And now here we are. This is the repercussions. But I don't even know if she understands the damage that was done to the overall movement, and a lot of people who got turned off now, people who were true believers who gave at that time and will never give again because they've been burnt now.
Yeah.
Or even the confirmation of the fears of the white community who like, see, we told you so. See, here's another one.
So how do you propose
there's no winners.
How do you propose fixing that? Like, how do you propose finding a way to counter that and make it so that it's not the bad information sticks, but at least reminding people of the good part of it and the reason why you can't just sit back.
Let me just say this, and I don't know if Ms. King. See, I think here's the thing. This is my humble opinion, is that's why they really don't give it to the people a lot of times who are going to do the right thing with it, because this is the narrative that they want to portray.
Amen.
Okay,
that's why T. Michael ain't getting his funding.
Right, exactly. People who will do what they should be doing with it. Will never receive a dime because they can't cap them in that trap.
And exactly, the fact that they're going to do the right thing with it,
right,
and they already have a solid plan.
Right.
So it is kind of funny that the people that didn't even have an office, didn't even have a business plan, gets the grant, and someone that has business plan, established years of experience, and actually proven that he can do the work.
We can't mess with that. Because if they're going to do the right thing.
Do you think social media can help to bring things out, shine a light on things, make things more transparent when stuff like that happens? Be like, hey, question it, or put it out there.
But if you put it out there, Helen, right? Just like a lot of the things we put out there about, right, voter registration, where you vote, and all that. That's the thing they delete, right? But like I said, you put out there, like, it's funny because Jamal and I both had the same reaction when people asked us where we're going to see the New Edition. And both of us, I like New Edition, grew up on them, right? Yeah. But I said no, because it was the same day early voting started here in the city of Boston. And I knew what the impact was going to be down there, right? Just like the holiday seasons are coming up. Area B3, the police station in Mattapan, has probably the best Halloween party, Christmas party, far none, right?
I've been there.
Right. They never have a lack of lines of people, right? Yeah. I told people the story one time. I remember when I was still working, and my sister, half-sister, they were having Bow Wow was at Chez Vu up there, and I pulled up to get some gas at the station there. I didn't know it, and the line was around the corner from Road Street, named after you, all the way down to Morton Street, right? And she sees me, she gets so excited because there's an officer doing the detail, and she comes running over to me. She said, "Hey, bro, God, man, can you get me in?" I said, "Yeah, I can." She said, "Oh, okay, let's go." I said, "I'm not." She said, "Why not?" I said, "This is a school night." I said, "If this was a parent-teacher conference, would y'all be lined up around the corner to get in?" What's that got to do with it? If you don't see the connection that your value is because little Bow Wow is here, he's getting here, you're paying to go in there, and you're teaching your kids that this is what's important, but they don't see you. I said, I'm at these school meetings because we're there for security. There are more staff than parents. I'm going to support.
And what a low bar we have as a people. Little Bow Wow. You know what I mean?
It's not even Big Bow Wow.
I might fan out if Stevie Wonder was at the Reggie Lewis or something, but Little Bow Wow? Come on.
And that's why he's at Chez Vu.
Maybe that's where you set up the voter registration table at the Little Bow Wow concert.
But they wouldn't, even if you
did set
signed
it up. Yeah.
Look at.
Well, not for nothing. Can you imagine if after that New Edition thing, because as you said, that was the day the polls were open.
Yeah.
And I actually thought that they had one of the early voting locations down there in OP, but I might be wrong. So the closest one might have been the Shelburne.
Yeah.
But could you imagine how powerful it would have been after they did all the accolades and everything?
Right.
If they said, "All right,
let's all
everybody,
go. Who's
we're
registered
going
to
to the
vote?"
Shelburne."
Right. Everyone who's registered to vote. But their new song should be not. Can you stand the rain? Can you stand the pain? Can you stand the pain?
And not for nothing too. Remember, Ronnie did I think the day before the election on Monday, did a backpack giveaway with Josh Kraft.
Yeah, he was there when he opened his campaign office.
Right, and so now that's the other double-edged sword too.
Yeah.
We also, yes, there are masses who will be attracted to that, but we also can't depend on celebrity to push like a valid cause.
So,
you know what I mean? So the cause should be able to stand on its own without you having to bring in, MC Poo Poo, to validate your message.
Using people that have a platform and have that voice, and people will listen to at least try to get some of the more educational messages out there.
Good.
That's the hard part, right? Is getting people to listen.
Right.
Time out.
Going to get Dr. Bradley. Go ahead.
Who's funding Little Bow Wow and the New Edition?
The city of Boston.
No. That's my point.
Okay.
Who's making the decision that they will actually get the contract to publish their music? Who's providing the funding? Who's signing them on? Does that person look like you?
No.
Does it look like me?
I tell people read the credits when any movie or whatever you say. Right.
That's my point.
Yeah.
See, my point is that oftentimes we look to our celebrities, and other people tell us who our leaders are. And oftentimes they are celebrities, but who are funding those celebrities? Why would the New Edition have their event on the day of early voting? Why not say no? I don't want to have it because this is important to me.
It's a distraction.
Yeah, exactly. Why wouldn't Little Bow Wow come to this location? You know what I mean? So we have to oftentimes look at who's behind the curtain.
Yeah.
Because who's behind the curtain is controlling the
but
the
it also
situation.
to the point where Helen was talking about, like I said, even if those folks, you had 422,000 something like that registered voters, only 93,000 people voted. So just because they're registered doesn't mean they're going to vote. Folks, we have run out of time. Matter of fact, next week when we're going to have some of the plaintiffs in who won the lawsuit against Blue Hill Capital and the predatory lending, they're going to be our guests talking about the success of that and how that came about, how many people were impacted by that.
Just to reiterate the fact how important financial literacy is. And the fact that, again, the people were able to get taken advantage of because of, not understanding the predatory, the basis of the loan.
Right. Well, because you feel like you're desperate to get a loan, so you'll take anything and hoping that, but you end up paying a price for that. Jamal, Helen, Pam, thank you all, folks. I hope you will have a great rest of your day. And tune in next week. We appreciate you.
Well, don't forget to like the Facebook.
Have a great
page.
weekend.
Yeah, yes. Dr. Bradley.
Hey, everyone.
Yes.
Keep up the good fight. Keep it up there.
Right. All right.
And be blessed.
Like the Facebook page.
Thank you so much. Bless you.
Yeah.
This is for the dreamers. They say I am a dreamer, 'cause I still believe that anything is possible as long as you work hard. Hustle real hard, hustle real hard, hustle real hard, hustle so if I never see ya, never get the chance to meet ya, no, I came up from the bottom, always rooting for the underdog.
I wrote 300 songs in 1 year, Boogie will tell you I'm on it. I got unreleased songs for days, they don't want it. Eat any MC in the game, it ain't a challenge. If your music reflects who you are, then you's a coward. I can see through the lies, you ain't living what you spitting. If your money's so long, why your dog's in prison? Why your baby mom's stripping, why your mom's still living in that same broken home that you used to sell piffin'? You ain't gotta lie to me to sell me a track. You ain't gotta rock fake jewels or walk around strap. I respect artists getting money, but love them for spitting crack. And the fact that one track can move a family out the trap. It's a dream for us lost souls brought up in the mix. I'm motivated by the artists coming out in my midst, and the artists that paved the way when I didn't exist. Music's a skyscraper, I'm just trying to add a couple bricks.
This is for the dreamers. They say I am a dreamer, 'cause I still believe that anything is possible as long as you work hard. Hustle real hard, hustle real hard, hustle real hard, hustle so if I never see ya, never get the chance to meet ya, no, I came up from the bottom, always rooting for the underdog.